Hey guys, Ms. Maxwell here, and today we're going to continue our unit on integers. Monday we talked about how we can add and subtract integers using a number line as an example, but today we're going to talk about how we can multiply and divide those integers as well. Don't forget, integers are whole numbers and their opposites. So whole numbers and their opposites simply means positive and negative numbers. Today I'm going to show you a quick way on how to remember when your answer is negative and when your answer is positive. So let's go ahead and get started. So our rule when it comes to multiplying and dividing integers, it says when dealing with negative multiplication and division, two terms are going to always be negative and one term is going to always be positive. Now I'm going to show you exactly what that means. So for example, let's say I have negative 5 times a positive 6 equals negative 30. Right? So each number represents a term. So 5 is a term, 6 is a term, and 30 is a term. Our rule simply states two terms have to be negative, one term has to be positive. So let's take a look at our example. So 5 is negative, 6 is negative, so those are our two negatives, and then our 6 is positive. So this actually looks identical to our rule. So as a cheat sheet, this is what you should remember. Two negatives, well, not two negatives, one negative multiplied by a positive is going to give you a negative. So again, negative multiplied by a positive is going to give you a negative. Same thing with division. A negative number divided by a positive number is going to give you a negative number. So let's take a look and see how that looks. So let's simply just reverse this one. So negative 30 divided by positive 6 is going to give you a negative 5. All right, so I have a negative divided by a positive is giving me a negative. Same thing. So for multiplication and division, a negative multiplied by a positive is going to give you a negative. Even if you were to reverse the order, a positive multiplied by a negative is going to give you a negative. Our rule simply states, anytime you have negative numbers dealing with multiplication and division, two terms are negative and one term is positive. Now what happens if you have just two positive numbers? What happens if you have two positive numbers? So let's say I simply have 7 times 6. 7 times 6 is simply just 42 because our rule says negative multiplication, not positive. All right, so this is positive. So anytime you have two positives, so a positive multiplied by a positive is going to give you a positive. So those pluses are positive. So a positive number multiplied by a positive number is going to give you a positive number. The same thing for division. A positive division multiplied by divided by another positive number is going to give you positive. So two positive numbers divided by each other is going to give you positive. Let's see how that looks. So let's just reverse this one. So we already know that 7 times 6 is going to give you 42. So that means 42 divided by 7 is going to give you a positive 6. This does not apply to our rule. I know sometimes we get confused and we say, okay, well, there's two positive numbers, so that means I got to have a negative somewhere. No, this rule for positive, if you have all positive numbers, your answer better be positive, guys. It needs to be positive. There's no way around it. Our rule only deals with negative numbers. Negative numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a shot at this. Go ahead and practice on Alex. I already assigned you 10 problems dealing with negative and positive division. If you need help, feel free to reach out to me on Remind. You can ask me any question that you may need answered, email, Remind, Canvas, whatever method you need to have a better understanding on how we multiply and divide integers, you know how to reach me.